For this first project, we're going to use this Peace on Earth unfinished wood sign from Dollar Tree. One of their Christmas signs. We'll use the back. And I grabbed some of these bells. They were on clearance last year at Joann's. Some twine, some of these ornaments from Walmart, and some antique wax, and some white chalk paint, a little bit of wood filler, and then just any leaf or Christmas pick that you find. So first I'm just going to prep this sign. I'm going to use a little wood filler here on these little circles so that it will look like one complete sign. Once that dries and I can sand it down, then I will paint the whole sign with chalk paint. While that wood filler dries, I will go ahead and paint this sign with the antique wax. This stuff works so great. It looks like stain and it goes on really quick and dries really quick. And I just use a light hand, not too heavy. Again, I want it to look like stain. Now I'll just give this a light sand and cover this with white chalk paint. Again, I'm going to use a light hand. I'm not going to fully cover the sign. I'm going to kind of leave some spots that you can see the brown through it because I really want this to have kind of a distressed rustic look. Now I'm just going to attach this Peace on Earth sign, and I am going to make it go all the way to the right because on the left we are going to decorate that side. First, I'm going to take some of this twine and I'm going to wrap it around several times. I believe I do about 3 times here, and then I'll just tie it off in the back. I got this gorgeous pick from Michael's in the grab bag last year. I literally got like 15 of these in a $5 grab bag. It was amazing, and I want to say they're like $20 retail, which is crazy to me. But I just go ahead and I clip off a couple different types of leaves that were on there just to kind of find the one that I like best, and I go ahead and I pick this one, and so I will glue that down, and then I grab one of these wooden looking ornaments from Walmart. I am loving their ornaments this year, these little tiny ones. They make amazing embellishments. And so I'm just going to take this one here that looks like a tree and I think just fits absolutely perfect. And then again, one of these bells from Joann's. Again, I got these on clearance last year. I bought so many things like on super clearance, so this project is actually super inexpensive to make. So make sure you catch those after sales in January and get some good stuff for next year. So once I kind of decide that I like my design, I'll go ahead and attach everything down. Lastly, I'll just cut some of this wrapping paper from Dollar Tree just to finish off the back of the sign. This is a new sign that I found at Dollar Tree. I love it. This is Snowflake. It's from Michael's. It was on sale for $1, and some more of these ornaments from Walmart, as well as some more of the antique wax and some ribbon. And what I love about this snowflake is that it already has that whitewash rusticness to it, so I didn't even have to do anything. So that was pretty great. So first you're just going to cover this little wooden sign with this antique wax. And once that's done, it's just a matter of gluing everything down. So I just hot glue down the snowflake, then the little ornament charm and a bow, and that is it. This project is done. Super fast, super quick, but it looks really amazing. I saw this sign at Hobby Lobby. I actually was going to treat myself to that sign, and I'm glad I did it because it was expensive and I was able to recreate it. So I'm starting with this 18-inch round chalkboard sign that I got from Chalk Couture, but I did check at Hobby Lobby and they had a circle sign this size, and it just wasn't on sale, so I didn't grab it, and then I remembered I had this in my stash. So I've just taped off here, and I'm going to make try to make this look like wood, and I think I succeeded. So I'm using Waverly chalk paint in hazelnut, and I'm gonna give it 2 to 3 coats right here. So again, so this sign I'm kind of doing it the opposite, where I feel like the Hobby Lobby one was probably wood and then they painted it black. So you can totally do that. Get a wood one and you're just going to do the opposite. You're going to tape it off and then you'll paint it black and leave the wood. And so I'm just going to rub a little bit of Waverly Antique Wax with my chip brush just to give it that wood grain look.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers.
And then I went to my Cricut and I cut out Merry Christmas. The Christmas font is Cream Candy and the Merry font is Aldine 721 BT.
Down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day.
Okay, now I'm just going to take this pick. This particular one is from Michael's. I got it in a grab bag like 2 years ago, and I think it cost about 20 cents, so it was a score. So I'm just peeling off some of the stems there. I don't want to use the red berries. I just want to keep this really neutral. And so I am just going to cut this down and adhere it down with hot glue. Before I do that, I do want to make the top of the ornament, and luckily Dollar Tree has come out now with these corrugated metal shapes. So I'm using this one. It's kind of an oval. They have stars and squares and like just all these really cool shapes now. And I was like, this is perfect to go as the top of my ornament. So I'm going to use partially E6000 as well as hot glue. I want this to be really sturdy. So this video you're going to see is, like I said, it's all Hobby Lobby inspired. But also, it's going to have a certain theme, and that is what my theme is going to be this year, and that is black and white and wood and green. So that's my theme this year. I have done red buffalo check and buffalo check the last, and rustic the last 2 years. So this year I wanted to kind of just change it up a little, and I'm going to go more with the woodsy rustic theme. So I'm still going to have white and black buffalo check, but I will be getting rid of the reds and the red buffalo check. So I definitely need some new decor, and so I am in love with how all these projects turned out because they will be all in my new decor this year. So I'm going to go ahead and use this ribbon. This ribbon is my favorite. It comes out at Christmas. I've bought it the last 2 years because it works so good for farmhouse projects year-round. It's definitely not Christmas. It works for Christmas, but it works year-round. So I'm just going to make 2 loops here, and this is kind of like my cheater bow. I just make 2 loops, then I cut the tails, and then I just adhere them all together with a zip tie. So I put the smaller loop on top of the big loop. I decide how long I want my tails, and then I just double that. That's how I make my bow, cheater bow. This is kind of a hard thing to put a bow on because the greenery is kind of thick. The sample, the inspiration does not have a bow, but I wanted a bow. And that's why it's called an inspiration piece and not a dupe, because I'm not making it exactly the same. So once I get that bow down, this project's done, and it's a nice big statement piece. I absolutely love it, and I hope you like it too.
Chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town.
I'm using the small candy cane wreath from Dollar Tree. It does come in a bigger size as well. And then this ribbon from Walmart, it is like a velvety ribbon. It's really pretty. And I'm just going to make it go all the way around that candy cane, wrap it, wrap it, wrap it, all the way down until you get to the bottom. So you know how when you know you have a craft supply, you know you do, but you cannot find it. And I am organized, and so it is driving me crazy. I knew I had the wood gingerbread sign from Dollar Tree. I know I had it. and I cannot find it. I even had all my gingerbread stuff together, still couldn't find it. So I made a trip down to Dollar Tree, and they had every wood shape except the gingerbread. But what I did find is this year they have metal shapes. So they have metal gingerbread and snowman and ornaments and all sorts of things. So I'm going to use the metal one. So I'm going to take the light mocha again and just cover this metal gingerbread. So again, you could use the wood one if you found it from Dollar Tree, but if you do, it is quite a bit bigger, and so you might want the bigger candy cane. And then once that dries, I'm going to take my white paint pen and I'm going to go over the raised edges here and make it look like icing. And then I gave him a little red smiley face. And I thought these trees from Dollar Tree were so cute just for the candies. I was looking for the candies by themselves, and then I saw them as bases on these trees. So that works too. I'm going to glue down the 3 candies as his buttons. And then I decide at the end, I do not like that bow, so I'm going to put an actual bow. Okay, and so I have these little white berry stems. I got them in my Michael's grab bag, and so any white stems you can find will look great. Dollar Tree has different ones, and so I'm just kind of arranging them. They're going to come out the top of my gingerbread man and then a little bit out of the bottom. And once I kind of like where they are, I'm going to glue them all down. And then, like I said, I just put a little bow as his bow tie because that one looks funky, the drawn one. So, and then that's it. I have the cutest little small wreath. So you could just hang it like on your wall. And I just really think this one turned out cute.
To share this holiday. Yes, it's a time of happiness, a time of joy, but now this year is twice as special, cause I'm hoping for us to fall in love in this winter wonderland. Chilling by the fire as I'm trying.
I knew this project would be very easy. I picked up a sheet of paper here from Hobby Lobby. It's just like a handmade paper type, and it comes in 12 by 12. I didn't have a big enough frame in my stash, so I did rip it down to 8 by 8. I just printed off this Joy to the World off my Cricut, but you could just feed this paper right through your printer and just print it on there. So that would be way easy. If you don't have a Cricut, just feed the paper through, and you can get it on the paper. Ooh, I could not think of my words there. The font that I'm using is JMH typewriter, and I got that off defont.com. So again, you can print it right onto your paper. All I'm doing now is just using my glue stick and gluing it down to this. This particular frame is from Michael's, but I got it like 2 years ago. You can use any frame and just take out the backing to it, and that's it. So it's a very inexpensive project to make. That's it. Look how easy that is. I love it. It's going to go so well into my decor. For this first project, I'm going to use one of these sleds from Dollar Tree. They're cute on their own. I'm going to rustic this one up. And some of the tree stems, branch stems, whatever you want to call them, from Dollar Tree. 2 sheets of this scrapbook paper, and this stem that I picked up from Joann's. It, I believe, is normally $3.99. I got it for like $1 last year, but any stem will do. So I'm going to trace out this sled, that's hard to say, not shed, but sled, on this piece of paper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the sled all the way to the right on this paper. It's really important that you do this on both pieces so that your lines match up. And I'm just going to grab a piece of sanding paper here and just sand off that lovely glitter. And then I will use some Mod Podge and I will put the scrapbook paper on top of the sled. Because this is a little bit thicker wire on the stem, I'm going to use my tin snips. I will link a pair of them below. They definitely help me out because I do have weaker hands, so I need a little bit stronger of a tool, and so these work great. As you can see, just plops it right off. I'm going to use one of these little branches. I'll call them branches. I'm not even sure what you call them. But anyhow, they have wire inside of them, so you can manipulate them to whatever shape you like. And I am just going to put it there at the top of the portion of my sled. And then my bow will go on top of that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and get some ribbon out. This is some ribbon I picked up last year. I picked up so much clearance ribbon. I highly recommend buying on clearance after the season. It was like, I mean, we're doing Christmas, but it was like Christmas opening up all my ribbon I bought for super cheap last year. So anyhow, for this type of ribbon, I am just going to make a loop by gluing the two ends together, and then I will gather it in the middle, and I'm going to make 2 of those loops. Okay, now I'm going to lay the shorter loop on top of the longer loop. I'm going to cut just a little piece of the ribbon here to cinch around the center, as you can see, just like that. And I will glue that together. Okay, now my ribbon needs some tails, so I'm going to cut a long strip. And I'm going to go ahead and dovetail the edges of both the sides, the edges, both of this ribbon. And then I will just kind of cinch it there in the middle. And I'm just going to take a little piece of twine and tie it just so it stays. I don't always do that, but this time I just feel like it was going to stay better if I did that. And then I'll glue it to the back of the bow. Okay, now it's just a matter of gluing all this down, and then this cute rustic sled is all complete. For these next projects, I'm going to use these two signs from Dollar Tree, and I will be painting both of them. I'm going to start out with this Candy Cane Lane sign here, and I'm just going to cover it with 2 coats of white chalk paint, and this will become our base. For the Mary sign, I want to give it a galvanized look. And so I'm going to take some of the white chalk paint and some of the black, and I'm just going to make a gray color. I had poured all this out, and then I had a fan next to my desk and it kind of dried it, so it got a little bit gloppy here. But once I find a gray that I like, I will cover the whole thing in that base color first. And once that has been covered, now I'm just going to kind of take little pieces here of white, black. I'm not going to mix it really good. I kind of want it on my brush messy. And then I'm just going to pounce it onto this sign here, and it's going to give it that galvanized look. And I just start pouncing around. If I have too much black, I'll add white. If I have too much white, I'll add black. And then if it starts, one area just doesn't look right, I'll pounce some just gray back onto it, and just do this onto the whole sign, and it will give it that metal look. Again, I'm just going to keep playing around with these colors, just tapping and tapping until I get the look I want. And now I want to write the word Christmas on our base, and just to give you an idea of some options you have at Dollar Tree, there's stickers, there's rub-ons, all sorts of things. Well, I didn't have enough S's in my rub-ons, so I went into my scrapbook stash and I found these alphabet stickers in there. They're a little bit raised, and I end up using these, which you can find these at Michael's and Joann's and Hobby Lobby. And I even think Walmart has them too. So you can find alphabet stickers pretty much anywhere. So I'm just going to go ahead and line those up on and stick them down. I didn't stick them all the way down at first, just to make sure that I had my spacing correct. And then once I do that, I'm going to take some more of that twine and wrap it around my edges. This will tie in nicely with the last project we made. lastly, I will just hot glue this Mary onto our base, and then this project is complete. This project is inspired by something I saw on the Kirkland's website. It is $34.99, but I make it much cheaper. Okay, I'm going to start by using elephant chalk paint from Waverly, and I'm just going to paint a piece of I was going to say scrap wood. So then I'm going to take some chalk paint from Waverly in moss, and then I'm just going to dry brush it with my chippy brush over the top. Now in the inspired piece, it was red, but I do not have red in my decor this year. I've gone with more neutral tones, greens, creams, that kind of thing. So I'm going to make this with a moss color, but of course you can make it with red. So like I said, in the inspiration piece, it was 8 inches by 24 inches, and this is much smaller. So, you know, obviously it's going to cost less, but I just was like, these little ski ornaments from Dollar Tree this year are really good. And so I'm going to use that on this. So again, just a piece of scrap wood. I started with elephant gray chalk paint, and now I'm just taking the moss chalk paint and dry brushing it on to give it that, you know, rustic look like the inspiration piece. I just kind of keep adding it. I start light because I want to make sure I don't get too much paint on. I've done that so many times, so I'm just starting with the light. And then I'm going to go to my Cricut, and I'm just going to type out Happy Holidays with a snowflake, and I will cut that out. As you can see here, here's the ornament from Dollar Tree. Super cute. Can't believe they can sell this for $1. I'm thankful. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard that Dollar Tree is going to start moving it up to $1.25. So not a huge deal unless you buy 50 things at once like maybe I do. Okay, so here again, I'm going to take my vinyl cut here from my Cricut, and I will just rub it down on here. I will glue my little skis down, and I think this sign looks a lot like the inspiration piece. Again, just that it's green. Of course, the skis are a little different, but I basically made this for a little over $1 because, of course, it's scrap wood and there's some vinyl here. So let's call it the $2-3. And we duped a $34.99 Kirkland item. Again, of course, mine's a little bit of a smaller version. And then lastly, I just glued on some of the tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree to the back, and this just makes it so it can stand up on its own, which I like, so I can add to my decor. Okay, I got this wood tree here from my friend Tracy, and I am going to link her Facebook group down below, and you can get wood cutouts like this. And I'm going to paint it in moss green, and then this little ornament I'm going to paint in white. And then I'm going to take these wooden dowels from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put the antique wax stain on them. Also, the little ornament is also from my friend's store, so again, I will link that below. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a quick and easy Christmas countdown. So again, I just painted the tree in the base in Waverly chalk paint moss, and these are an antique wax and then a little white on the ornament. I'm just going to space these out. Because of the size of the ornament, I felt that if I did all 24 days, it would be a little bit too jammed. So I'm only doing 20 days. Depending on the size of what you're using to mark the days, and whatnot, you can do the 24 days, or I thought about maybe just doing 12 days. So however you want to do it. So I just went to my Cricut and I cut out the numbers for 20 days. I will link the font down below because I don't remember it off the top of my head right now. So again, I'm just going to kind of space this out, put my numbers down, and I'm going to take the wooden dowels and I'm going to glue them with the Gorilla Wood Glue. I feel like that will definitely have a better hold than hot glue. I've been trying to use that glue more if I can, because I do find that it stays longer. I will link that glue down below as well. And because it's a wooden dowel and it can kind of roll, I decided to put the glue on the tree form instead of the dowel because I had a feeling it would roll and get glue everywhere. And so again, I just go ahead and there we go. I just put a little buffalo check bow on the ornament, and as you can see, it sits just like that on the wooden dowels, and you can put it on which day it is. I was really excited to see these 3D kits from Dollar Tree. This is how they come. So first I'm going to take one of these little crates from Dollar Tree, as well as that nativity scene from the last slide, and I'm going to paint it in Waverly Antique Wax. And then I'm going to take 7 of these domino pieces and paint them white. Once I have them all painted white, I take some of the antique wax and I just kind of distress the edge. And then with my Cricut, I added the numbers. You can use number stickers if you'd like to. Then I measured to get that hole right in the center, and I punched it out with my Crocodile. And then I'm going to go through all of the other ones and mark them so I get them all in the same spot. And I will also, like I said, I used my Crocodile. If you don't have one of these, what is so great about them is they punch like butter. So if you have like arthritis in your hands or anything like that, it's super easy to punch with. I don't have super strong hands, so I love that tool. Okay, so now that I have my pieces all painted and my numbers all down, I'm going to find out where on my crate that I want to hang these. Once I measure where I want them to be, I'm going to hammer in 2 skinny nails that I also got from Dollar Tree. They come in these little kits. They have other little hanging pieces in there and other size nails as well. And now, originally I had planned on using the opening of the crate and putting those little wood blocks in it to count down, but my Dollar Trees were all out of the little blocks, and so I came up with this alternative, and I actually like it better. So I think it was easier. And there you go. Now that's the nativity all put together. You can just add it down with some wood glue, and that's it. And I think this turned out really good. I was excited to find the snowman wreath form at Dollar Tree, and I had this loop-de-loops yarn in my stash, and so I'm not really sure where I got it. I think I got it at Joann's. And so I finally had a use for it. I will link it down below if I can find it for you. But any kind of, chenille type yarn will work. So I'm just going to start by just winding it around the wreath form. So no glue needed because I'm just going to wrap it around itself. I'm going to go all the way around both loops. And this is what it looks like when the yarn is all the way around both circles. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of this burlap, and I did get this at Joann's. It's a shimmery burlap. This has also been in my stash for a while because shimmer and burlap are kind of an odd combination, but it works perfect for a snowman. And it is the exact width. I mean, how lucky did I get with this? So I'm just going to wrap it around twice just so you make sure you can't see the black. wire form underneath it, and then just hot glue it. And then I'll cut off a piece for the, what do you call that, the brim of the hat, the part that goes across. And I just fold it in, I guess I would say in fours. Well, you'll see here. I can't remember. I don't know how you would describe it, but I'm just going to basically make a long strip and then just glue that down. I'm going to use the same burlap for the scarf, so I just kind of measure how I want it. I kind of don't go with the original plan, but the start works good. So again, I'm going to just make it to the thickness that I want and glue that down. Originally, I thought I would just, make it go from the back to the front, but really a scarf usually goes all the way around and then comes back into the front, and so I end up doing it that way. I simply went to my yard and found some twigs, and I'm just going to cut them down to the same length as these wire hands that you see here and just glue them down. Now sometimes hot glue and wire don't go together, but these seem to adhere just fine. So I will, again, just glue those down. And then next, it's just about embellishing the hat and the scarf, and this project's done. It was super quick and easy, and this is like one of my favorite wreaths, and sometimes less is more. You don't have to do a whole lot. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. You'll have to let me know down in the comments if you found this snowman wreath form. I wanted to make another one and went to my Dollar Tree and they didn't have them anymore, but I have a couple Dollar Trees. So I went to another one and they had like 20, so I was pretty excited. Okay, so I'm taking this pick that I got from Michael's. It was in their grab bag, so I think it turned out to be like 10 cents for this, which is great. But you can just get any greenery. And I'm just going to use the greenery. I thought I might use the pine cones, but then I decided not to. I'm just going to glue the greenery down, and my camera cut off, but I just took 2 of the wood snowflakes that you can find at Dollar Tree. I painted them white and I added them to the snowman, and that is it. Like I said, it was a really easy project. but I am in love with how it turned out. I know you've probably seen a lot of these beaded decor pieces, but this one was super chunky, so I wanted to recreate that. So I'm using 25mm beads that I got off Amazon, as well as these snowflake ornaments from Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to stack 4 of them on top of each other, because like I said, this is going to be a chunky piece. So I'll paint that snowflake with linen colored Rust-Oleum chalk paint. And then for the beads, I'm going to take some of my antique wax, pour it into this little container here, and then I'm going to roll the beads around. After I do that, get them nice and coated, then I'm going to rinse them off. Is there an easier way to do this? Maybe. Maybe stain them in coffee? But this worked well for me. And then I just went and I rinsed them under the faucet, and it came out good. And it didn't even stain my hands or anything like that. So that's what I do. And there you can see them at the top. They're not very dark. I probably could have left them in there longer. But I didn't know. I'd never tried this before, and so I didn't want them to be too dark. So that's what I did. Then I'm just going to take this snowflake and kind of rough it up a little bit. And I will string my beads and this snowflake, and that'll be done. It will be just this chunky little piece to add to my decor. I hope you enjoyed these projects today. I am really excited to decorate for Christmas this year because it will be all new decor pieces, and that's always kind of fun to have kind of a fresh start. I am going to actually insert a picture here at the end of some of the pieces that I picked up from Hobby Lobby that I'm just going to put into my decor. I don't have to do anything with them. This centerpiece from Joann's, you won't even believe how much I made this for. So obviously this is on sale for $60. Okay, first I start out with this palette sign I had in my stash that I didn't like. So I sanded it down, and then I cut 2 sides off so that I just have these 3 pieces left. There's still a little blue showing from the old paint, but it's not going to matter. If it did, I would just kind of paint over it, but we're good. So I had a little bit more sawdust down, so I just took my little ladybug vacuum and went over it just to get the extra dust off. Then I'm going to take this floral foam from Dollar Tree. This is a full pack. I love when they cut it down for me. And I will go ahead and hot glue it down to my palette board. Now, here's why this isn't going to cost me very much money. Because first I used a sign that I had bought and I didn't like, and I've had it for years and years, keep saying I'm going to do it over. Well, also, here's a stem from Michael's. It retails for $20. I can't even imagine buying a stem for $20. So I pulled it all apart and I took out all of the red. Okay, and so now I'm left with just the greenery. So here's the kicker. I got a Michael's grab bag, and if you're not familiar with those, I do have a video of me getting one recently, and I will post that here. But 2 years ago after Christmas, I got my very first Michael's grab bag. I didn't even know it was a thing, but it is, and you get a huge box or a bag for $5. Actually, I think when I got this one, it was only $4. I think they were $5 this year, but back in 2020, they were only $4. And I got the most massive amount of floral stems. I want to say there was like $600 or something worth of floral stems in my my $4 grab bag, okay? So these stems are from that. I understand you guys probably won't find this exact deal, but you're just going to grab greenery, okay? So you can grab greenery anywhere. So many craft stores have greenery, and it's not that expensive, especially when you're just buying it as greenery. When you buy it as a big bundle, like you just saw at the beginning of the screen, then they're like, oh, it's Christmas, we can charge way more. But just grab some greenery, that's all you need. So I'm just going to start taking the like greenery. And again, you can see I have a big mix of greenery. And I'm just going to kind of put it all the way around and then a little bit going upwards. Then I'm going to take the next type of greenery and I'm just going to start placing that around as well. And I'm just going to keep going with all of the different greeneries. Okay, once I get these in and get it nice and full, and then I will add some pine cones. That's it. That's this DIY. It was so simple. Again, I think this probably cost me maybe a couple dollars. I'm going to say maybe $2 in the stems because it was in the grab bag, $1 for the floral, and then again, it was a palette sign that I hated and I was just keeping around to make over someday. So it didn't really cost me a whole lot. But I would say if you could find some greenery and some items, you could probably make this for around $10 to $15, which is much better than the $120 retail price it had and even the $50 sale price tag that it was coming with. And this thing looks spectacular in the middle of my table. And what I love about it is it's just kind of wintry. There's no colors, anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be Christmassy, but it'll work for this time of year. Okay, so now you see that it's nice and full. And again, so I have these stems that already had pine cones on them. And I know Dollar Tree has these. So keep an eye out. They do have the pine cones on the stem. But if for some reason you can't find those, you could just hot glue your pine cones down. That's it. Now, I wanted to keep it like this and show you because this is the store dupe of me making it as much like the store as I could. But I decided that I thought if I used 3 of these little glass tall tea light holders from Dollar Tree and added them down into the middle, that I could also make it, a lighted centerpiece.
I can see them now. It's like they spell your name. It's insane. Now we're back here once again.
I really wanted to show this really simply, but make it look high-end. So it is chalkboard on one side, and then of course this wood on the other side. I will be using this wood side. I have the snowflake from Dollar Tree, another little ornament here from Walmart, as well as some of this ribbon from Hobby Lobby. It is so pretty. It's in their regular section. I got it half off, and it's this pretty velvet with like a frayed edge. It's so pretty. I love it. And I also picked it up in gray. I believe they had other colors as well. Now I know a snowflake wouldn't be black, but I loved the way black popped. So I just took a black Sharpie and colored over my snowflake here. And as you can see, I just wrapped the ribbon right around like a scarf, glued everything down, and that's it. 3 little items, but I thought it made it look so high end. What do you think about the black snowflake? To make this faux birchwood candle holder, this is a new item that I just found at Dollar Tree recently, along with this lightweight spackling also from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to start grabbing some of this and rubbing it onto this. I guess this would probably be a pencil holder. It was in their craft section and it's really nice looking. And they also had it in square. And so I'm just going to just push it down, and it doesn't stick super great. You're going to see little pieces fall off, but if you just take your fingertips, push down, and just go slowly around it, it does stick, and it will look so neat. Just wait and see. And once it's dried, I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of sandpaper and I am going to lightly, and I mean very lightly, sand this down. It has a really neat texture, but there's some little pokies and things, so I'm just barely touching it with the sandpaper, and it just smooths it out perfectly. And now I'm going to cover it with a cashew colored paint from Waverly, and I'm just going to put that around the whole thing. And this kind of seals it in, kind of helps with the dust that was coming off of it. And now I'm going to take hazelnut, and I'm just going to make a very light line onto this, and this is where we're gonna make that faux birchwood. And at first I found that I was using too thick of a brush. I end up switching it out, but it's okay if you make a little bit of a mistake like I just did. It actually, I end up doing it more on purpose because it makes just a deeper brown going around it, and it makes it look like it has some depth. So here I just go for that really straight tipped brush, and it makes for the lines to be much thinner. So I'm just going to play around here. I'm going to go around making these little marks, and then I'm going to darken up some spots, and then lastly I'm going to make that where it kind of looks like the wood is peeling away and you've revealed kind of that dark black spot. Here's where I just do that little darker spot. I play around with some of the colors to give it that depth and just how the birchwood looks. To finish off, I just put this little piece of pool noodle in and some of this Spanish moss on top. You really could put anything you want inside. This just seemed to fit perfect. And then once that's on there, I just put this little battery-operated tea light right on top and set it inside. And it makes the cutest and most rustic looking birchwood candle holder. I saw this piece on the Michaels website and I cannot believe how much it was. And I'm going to be able to recreate it. So I'm going to take this triangle piece and this two wood pieces, all from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to cover them in steel paint from Waverly. Then I'm going to take this 3D kit here, also from Dollar Tree, and these are really neat. This is new to Dollar Tree this year, and I'm loving them. If you saw my Nativity video, I used one of these. So this is how they work. You kind of stick them up in the slats. I'm going to go ahead and push all those items aside, and I'm just going to use the trees here, and I will paint them with white chalk paint, as you see here. Okay, so now for my little deer characters. I want to make this look like wood. So I cut these out on my Cricut, and I cut 4 of them. So you can cut as many as you want. And I glued them all on top of each other. So there you can see that's 4 layers right there. And that's all I thought was necessary, but you could make it thicker if you wanted. And then I'm using my Barely Art Precision Glue. I showed you here how it's down. I just put a little glue all the way around, and then I glued each layer on top of each other. And I think this does look a lot like the little wood, like you would get kind of like those trees from Dollar Tree. Again, I found those images in Cricut Design Space. Okay, so now my 3 pieces are covered in the steel gray chalk paint. And now I'm going to start by putting the trees in. So I want these to go all the way flat against my triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and hold it up here, and I'm going to mark with a pencil where I need to cut. Okay, so because I'm going to want this to be flush to the back. So once I mark the spots, I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and run it across a couple times, and then that should, it did make it fit perfectly inside that triangle.
But now I got my eye set on you. I'm not gonna play it safe. It's going down on Christmas Day. 'Cause I've been trying to tell you in every way. Yeah, I've been trying to show you, but somehow felt I wanna have someone to hold. Walking through the falling snow. I've been trying to tell you in every way, but now that it's done, I'm not gonna wait. And right around the mistletoe, I'm gonna let my feelings show. Always got you on my mind, but I know this time you're on top of my list. Only wish. And as we
Okay, now that I have that pushed back to the background, I'm going to put the deer in the foreground by gluing it there to the top of the triangle. And I didn't even need adhesive on those trees because it is in there tight. So I will go ahead and just glue the deer onto the front. And then I'm going to glue my triangle there on top of this cube, and then the cube onto our bottom layer, and then this project's done. It's a very unique project. It's a very unique project, and I'm glad I came across it on Michael's website because I really enjoy it. It's just something really different, and it was really easy to make. It just took a couple things of paint and a couple things on my Cricut, and voila, a much cheaper version. So this cost me $4 in supplies, and then a little bit of cardstock there for my deer. So a much more affordable option.
let me
I gathered all of my wood snowflakes from Dollar Tree. Um, yeah, the one in the packages from last year. There's these little tiny ones from this year. The very first ones I showed you are like a connected sign. Now these ones right here, I don't know where they're from. I just have them in my stash. They could be Dollar Tree, but I don't think so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a canvas and I'm going to do a reverse canvas. So if you haven't seen that before, what I do is I cut the canvas part off of the frame. And using my rotary tool, I found that it actually worked a little easier than an X-Acto knife, but then of course X-Acto knife will work too. The other way you can do this is by popping all the staples out. That will also get rid of it, but that's not necessary because this will be the back side. So once I get this torn off, and we will be reusing this, so don't get rid of it. We're reusing it. We're just flipping it so that the inside frame will now become the outside frame. I also like the look of the cream. That's the back side of the canvas instead of the white, so that works really well too. Now, I got a little overzealous and I put the canvas back on before I painted the frame. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's okay because I taped it off and I was able to paint the frame. But you definitely want to paint the frame before this step. So now I'm putting it back on. Okay, so now you'll see that you've got the wood, because I flipped it over, so you have the nice side of the wood on the front of the canvas. So I'm flipping it over again, and I'm going to re-staple this onto what's now the back of the canvas. So I just use my staple gun there, and you just want to make sure that you pull everything taut, and then you're going to cut off the excess canvas. Because you have to remember, before the canvas was going around the wood, and this time it is not. So you will have some excess to cut off. I do end up painting the frame with moss colored Waverly chalk paint, and I paint them white, and I think the steel gray is the other color. So I'm just going to take the various sizes here, and I'm going to lay them out how I want, and I'm trying to make a snowflake shaped Christmas tree. So I just painted the snowflakes in the 3 colors. As you can see here, I had to tape it off in order to make the frame. And I don't know why my camera kind of tilted, so it kind of looks like this project's falling off the table, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think my camera stand lost a screw, and so it keeps tilting, so I apologize. So now I'm going to lay these back on, and then once I find that they're all in the right spots, I will just take my hot glue gun and glue them down, and then that's it. The last step was I just turned it over and put a sawtooth hanger on the back, and then this was ready to hang. How did I decide which colors? Well, basically I just painted each one of the big snowflakes, each color, and then I just kind of kept going from there. So it's kind of fun having all the different sizes of the snowflakes. Again, I got all but like 2 of them from Dollar Tree. And I think this would work even without those. So that's it. I have them all laid out, hot glue them down, and this project is complete. These votives are stunning from Dollar Tree. Also, I'm going to use these 2 tea light glass candlesticks, but look at these. Are those not stunning? They are so beautiful, and they're just trees, so they don't look, Christmassy. I'm going to use, I went ahead and I cut out some cardstock there to fit the glass tops. You could also use these candlesticks as well. I was going to use those, and then I accidentally broke one, so I had to go with plan B. So I just took these wood snowflakes from Dollar Tree and I painted them white. And now I'm going to glue on the cardstock here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these candlesticks down upside down. And I want them to have a good space, a good adherence spot, but I'm also going to fill the bottoms of those tea lights. So we'll make it a really cute bottom. I'm going to use some of this that came in my Michael's grab bag last year, but you could use any, white snow or foamies or just any white stems, whatever you think will look pretty in the bottom of your tea light there. Again, I'm just going to cut a little piece of this off, and I'm going to add a little snow-covered pine cone as well. And then once I like the way that looks in my tea light, I will go ahead and glue that down. Again, I'm going to use white hot glue stick, so that way I don't have to worry about it looking funky, and I'm actually then going to go around it one more time with the glue stick there, and it kind of looked like snow. So I will do that for both of these candle holders. Then using some E6000, I'm going to go ahead and glue that votive holder onto the top. And I think these make the high-end looking candle holders. Look how beautiful those are. I'm telling you, those votives are gorgeous. And I think it's a fun little addition to put the bottoms on as well. Take one of the houses from Dollar Tree, and then I just had, and I'm gonna just take some of this buffalo check. I'm not, this is gonna be the back side, but I just want to have it finished. I don't want pink on the back. I'm just going to take my folk art black chalk paint and cover that house. And then I just have this little wood house that I picked up somewhere along the way, and I'm going to cover that in Waverly Antique Wax. I have these bells also from Hobby Lobby, just got them this year, again 40% off. I need some twine, and I just happen to have that little snowflake. So what you're seeing here is I actually am adding a whole new little house that wasn't in the inspiration, but that I thought went well with this. So after my house is painted in black, I'm just taking a strip of the buffalo check paper, and I'm just going to glue it around the house. Now you could use ribbon as well. I think maybe I would use ribbon now. Looking back, I just think it might give it a little higher end look, but this worked just well, just like the inspiration piece. Once I get that glued down, I'm going to take my twine and wrap it around several times and make a little twine bow.
Busy saying ho ho ho, we're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house
going to take these skates from Dollar Tree and paint them up. I used moss Waverly for the main part of the skate. I used some, gosh, I don't know, it's like a hazelnut, I think, for the brown and steel for the silver. And I'm going to go ahead and grab these ribbons. So this ribbon is really fun that I got at Hobby Lobby this year, $7.99, and I got it for half off. And it's a huge roll. It's going to last a really long time. Again, this is another ribbon. The white ribbon there, I think, is also from Hobby Lobby. No, Celebrate It is Michael's. So that was from Michael's. I got that on clearance. Same with the snowflake ribbon. Okay, and so this sled, which I meant to show first, and I apologize, but the sled is from the Target Dollar Spot. This sled was $3, really good price. As you can see, I just crisscrossed that white ribbon over that fun, I don't even know what you would call that, kind of like a mesh ribbon. And then I just make a circle there with my snowflake because I don't want this to have big tails. I want it, you know, not to cover the skates. So I just glue the skates down, glue the bow on, which I put this gray trim ribbon around the center to finish it off, and that's it. Such a fast, easy makeover. I thought those skates were so high end from Dollar Tree, so this whole project was just a little over $4. I took 6 of these little gingerbread wood pieces from Dollar Tree and I painted them in light mocha from Apple Barrel. I use that for all the gingerbread projects in this video. And then I'm just going to decorate each one of these with my paint markers and my white gel pen. And with my white gel pen, I'm just making it look like icing. And then again with my little markers, I'm drawing just different bows or buttons or scarves as you see here. And I notice my hand covers up a lot of it, so I'm just going to let you see what I came up with my little designs. Okay, then I'm going to take this sign from Dollar Tree and cover it with a silver metallic paint, and that is going to be my cookie sheet. And once I get that done, I'm going to go over to my Cricut and I cut out Baking Spirits Bright. I just typed it out myself with a cute font, and again, you could just use that same white gel pen and write it out yourself or any other cute saying. And then I'm going to just glue down my gingerbread men. And I will give you a close-up here so you can see how I decorated each of my gingerbread men.
The snow is falling down. I've been longing for this Christmas.
Okay, and then I am going to add a bow up into the corner, and I grabbed some buttons also from Dollar Tree, sprinkled them down here, which one works best, and then glue one into the center of my gingerbread cookie sheet. Another really easy project. I just took one of these green tree ornaments from the Target Dollar Spot, as well as these 3 wood pieces that I got from, I think it's called Crafty Peeps, but I will link it below. But you could cut any kind of wood. And then this ornaments are $3.99 at Hobby Lobby, and I got them for 40% off, and I painted it white. I also sanded off the glitter on the side of the tree, and I painted it with the Waverly Antique Wax. Now on 2 of the trees, I just put some scrapbook paper. Both of those are from Hobby Lobby. One looks like metal. Obviously, the other one is buffalo check. I'm just going to take this scrap piece of wood, also covered with Waverly Antique Wax, and then just glue these trees on. Super easy, quick project. I know I went through that fast, but I know you know how to paint and Mod Podge, and that's all that I did here. And I just think it turned out really cute. As you can see, I changed it up a little bit from the inspiration piece at Hobby Lobby. It just so happened that that ornament fit perfect on the tree. I hadn't originally planned that, but I thought it added a lot to it.
Under the mistletoe, while
Don't forget to check the kids section at the Dollar Spot. There's usually some really fun paint your own projects. Look how cute these little wooden houses are, and I love that it had that tall one. Okay, so then I'm grabbing some of these Christmas trees from Dollar Tree. You get 3 tall ones and 3 short ones. So I love the variation of sizes. So I'm going to take my little, what I say looks like a cabin, and I'm going to paint the top with antique wax. I'm going to paint the main house with moss from Waverly. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to take my cloche here, which I should have showed you first, but this is the base of the cloche. So what I'm going to do is cut out a piece of cardboard, and everything is going to be on this, so I can take it in and out, and I can use the cloche for other seasons. Now, since the glass it comes in about a 1/2 inch. So I just made little 1/2 inch marks around, and I'm going to cut it smaller there. Okay, so this is a fun item also from the Target dollar spot. It is faux snow, and you get a ton of this. So what you do is you take 1/4 teaspoon and you put that down into your bowl. No, I had that wrong. 1 teaspoon, and you put that down in your bowl, and you add 1/4 cup of water. That's it. I thought you might have to stir it, but you do not have to stir it. And the powder instantly becomes a powdery snow. So it's really neat. Look at how quick that just turned into snow. I just kind of shake it around. It's my first time trying and using it. It's a really, really fun thing to have. So, 1 teaspoon, you can make so much snow out of that one little jar. So what I'm going to do is, now that I'm going to set that aside. Okay, so now you see my little cabin here is painted, and I felt like if I'm going to use snow, then I'm going to have a little bit snow on the roof of my cabin. So I'm just going to take my sponge and sponge on white paint. This is just regular white acrylic paint that I sponge on. You could use chalk paint too. I just had quick access to this acrylic paint. Once I do that, I'm going to glue everything down to that little piece of cardboard. Now, don't do what I did. I have to make my mistakes here for you so you know what not to do. So don't put the snow down first. I thought it would look more natural if I put the snow down first and then glued the 2 trees in the cabin, but it won't stick to where the snow was. So I do end up kind of having to wipe off the snow and then reapply. No big deal. It was really easy fix. But I'm just taking regular old Elmer's glue and sprinkling the snow over the top here so I would have a snow base. But again, I'm going to have to kind of reassess here in a second. So while I'm doing this and while you're watching, so I saw this pretty close, and I hope I'm saying that right, at the Target dollar spot, and I want to say it was $5. It was $3 or $5, and I apologize that I don't remember. But I thought I really wanted something snowy, and I don't want us to be just a one-time use just at Christmas. So I was like, oh, I will just put whatever I make on top of a piece of cardboard. That way I can just pull it right out after Christmas, and then I can do something for Valentine's Day, or maybe just something kitchen-y that'll look in my kitchen, just anything really. So it's just a fun, see, there's where it fell off because you can't glue it to the snow. And because it was just Elmer's glue, I could just wipe it right off. No biggie. I'm just going to add more glue to it and more snow, and this is how it turned out, and a couple of different ways I styled it. It's kind of a hard thing to get a picture of because, it's that glass plastic, but I really think it turned out too. I'm going to take this sled from Dollar Tree and cover it in antique wax by Waverly, and then I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum chalk paint and linen, and I'm going to dry brush it onto the J and the Y here. Now I was pretty excited because I found them for 15 cents in the clearance section at Hobby Lobby, so make sure you check that out. In my store, it's the very back corner. So I was pretty impressed with myself that my J and Y match my snowflake perfectly. The snowflake was in my stash. I want to say it came in a kit that I got at the Target dollar spot last year. So all I'm going to do is just glue the J and the Y down and then add my snowflake. So they're a little big, but I actually like, kind of the big chunky look of this. I was really excited to find the sleds this year at Dollar Tree. They had 3 different looks to the sleds, so that's fun. I'll have another 2 sleds to make. Because it had a hole in it, because the snowflake was like a hanging, like an ornament, I tied the tiniest little bow with my jute cord and put it over the hole. Now I'm using some ribbons that I got from Stampin' Up. I will try to link those below if they're still current. And I loved this like twisted cord with the green in it, and so it fit perfectly. I'm not even sure why there's little holes there, but it worked perfect because I could just thread this through. And then I'm going to take some of my other ribbons and make a little bow, and this ornament is complete. Now, I have never been into like really big ornaments, and so this year my tree was just boring, and I was like, it needs something. And so I put it out on Instagram, asked my followers, what does it need? And they all said big, chunky ornaments. And I took their advice, and it looks amazing. So I will I will show how my Christmas tree turned out at the end of this video. I'll be using these 3 items for this project. This is a yardstick that I got from Walmart for 98 cents. I just popped those off. They have so many cute ones that you can make the cutest signs with. And then this is a stem that I got in my Michael's grab bag. I was at Dollar Tree 2 days ago, and they had almost the identical ones. And then, of course, this beaded wreath is from Dollar Tree. Have you found these yet? I am so excited about them. It makes for such an easy little wreath. Look at this. How quick and easy is that? Like, so easy, but I think it looks high end. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of these types of wreaths out there. So just taking a, oh my goodness, why, zip tie. Zip tie is the word. I'm going to zip tie these on and get them going all the right direction, and then I'll add that little nativity placard there in the center. If you can't find that at Walmart, there's just so many options you can do. There, you know, any kind of ornament. Again, this doesn't have to be nativity related. You could print like that graphic out just off your printer and like print it onto a piece of, or paste it down to a piece of cardboard and use it that way. I mean, that's even more inexpensive. So whenever in my videos you see something and you know you can't find it, hit me up and I will try to give you an alternative, okay, if I hadn't mentioned it in the video. Okay, so I'm hot gluing some of the chenille stems on, and that is going to be how I attach the little placard there. So it works. You can't do it with a zip tie because of the way they glue down, so you're going to want to use a chenille stem on that one. And then after I get that on, I notice kind of some bald spots, so I fill those back in with some of those little branches I pulled off, and I'll just hot glue those to the back of the sign. And then I kind of hot glue some of the tips and stuff to the beads themselves, just so that everything stays in place nice. I picked up this ribbon from the 99-cent store. I make just a loop there and glue it. Pinch the center there, pinch the center of my tails, and then using another zip tie, I zip tie it together. Now, if you're really talented, you can zip tie this to the top at the same time, but I always forget to do that, so I'm going to end up needing to make a second zip tie to zip tie it to the wreath. But that's it. Easy peasy wreath, very inexpensive to make. This probably cost me maybe, we'll say around $6 to make, so I think that is a super good deal. Using the faux suede setting on my Cricut, I cut out a couple different Christmas tree shapes onto the leather from Dollar Tree. It cut it out perfectly. By using that setting, it automatically went over the image twice, and look at this. It cut it like butter. I wasn't sure if this was going to work. I do have the Cricut Explorer 2, and I know it works on the Maker, but I wasn't sure if it was going to work on my 2, and it did. Look at how well this cut out. I'm really excited to know now that I can cut out of that. So using this sign from my Michaels grab bag, I'm going to pop off that middle there with the birds and sand it down. And now using a piece of scrapbook paper, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down onto my sign. Now this is a piece of paper I picked up at Hobby Lobby. It has like a faux leather look to it as well. So I will go ahead and adhere that down. Now the frame of this already had kind of a distressed look, and I loved it. So I laid all my trees down how I liked, and then I took a picture so that I remember when I take them all off to glue them down. So originally I was going to do them like that, where I set them down at the bottom. So if you like that look, do that. But then I decided I really want to lift them up about 1.5 inches off from the bottom. So I go ahead and I measure 1.5 inches up, and now I'm going to rearrange them once again to make sure I do like them a little bit up. Then I adhere them down with my Barely Art precision glue. You don't really want to use hot glue on this because these are really thin pieces of faux leather, and the hot glue is going to be like clumpy. So it's going to give you weird bubbles. So you just want to use like a flat glue. Okay, so now that I have them all adhered down, I decide that I want to give them kind of a twine foreground, like a horizontal line here that they're kind of sitting on this. So I go ahead and I do it 3 times. Now I do the first one straight, and then I do the other one kind of like in an X, just to give it some dimension. And then I'll tie a little tiny bow with that twine. Now originally, I went back and forth. Do I put a sentiment down at the bottom, like Merry Christmas or something of the sort? I chose not to. My daughter was looking at it and she was like, Mom, you really should put something here like Merry Christmas. And so I went back and forth. So if you'd like to use some block stickers or maybe your Cricut and add Merry Christmas at the bottom, I think that would also look good. But anyhow, this was a super easy project and I really like the way it turned out. I grabbed this Dollar Tree gift bag as well as this sign. I love these signs where they have the wood border. And so I'm just going to pop that border off, and it worked out nice too because the paper came with it. Be gentle. Don't hurt yourself popping this off, and don't pull on it too hard. You don't want to break your pieces in half. But they come off in 4 pieces, the little sides there. And then also popping that home sign off. Now I have that for future DIYs, and it's the cutest little metal home sign. So this is a really good buy. Okay, so once I have it all off, I'm going to center my bag down, and of course it's going to be taller up and down. So I just wanted to get as much of that like North Star or whatever it is that they're following at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and just with a glue stick glue this down. And since these little wood trims are going to go around it, I don't have to have a super straight line, so I can just cut it myself and just make sure I'm going to have enough room where those wood pieces go over it and you don't see like my jaggedy cut. And then hot glue those back on. Easy, easy. And these bags are gorgeous. And so I don't know if you can see on camera, but it does have like gold foiling on this one. Now you turn it over, you know, because it's a gift bag, so you actually have the other side you can do something with as well, but it does have more of a fold in it. But anyhow, again, I feel like this was barely a DIY, but it makes a really cute sign. You could add a bow or other things if you'd like, but I like the simplicity of just the bag and the sign. Using a palette board I had in my stash, I went ahead and hand drew this circular design here, something I saw on Pinterest. And then I'm going to use this twine from Dollar Tree and I'm going to follow those lines that I made. So I know you're like, I can't freehand that. So I am in the process of building a website where I can have these downloads for free. But until then, again, you're welcome to come over to Instagram and DM me over there and I will send you this pattern, okay? So then you can trace it onto your board if you want to make this. So you could use any Dollar Tree sign, you can cover it however you want. You could do it on poster board. I had this cute palette sign in my stash, so that is what I chose to use. But again, so my Instagram handle is $__mom. And just again, DM me over there and I will send you the pattern. Now, as you see here, I'm just twirling this. I'm using my hot glue. You're really going to want to use a precision tip for this one. If you don't have a precision tip one, you're going to want to use a very small pressure on your hot glue because you don't want this to clump. But again, I'm just tracing with my hot glue and then putting the twine along where I put the hot glue. So it's really easy. It's a little bit tedious because this, you're making lots of swirls and whatnot, but it is fun to do. It's easy to do. Again, it's just a little bit time consuming. Okay, so I will let you watch here while I do a couple of the swirls. I won't make you watch the whole thing. I think you'll get the gist of it, that I'm just tracing and putting the twine down. Okay, this is what it looks like when I'm all finished, and then taking some of these metallic star beads from Dollar Tree, I go ahead and position them around my Christmas tree, hot glue them down, and this project is complete. I think it is a really cool Christmas tree. I'm going to start with this sled and let it snow from Dollar Tree, as well as this wood board I picked up at Michael's. And I went ahead and I got my sign here and I went ahead and I painted the sled with sage green, and then I used the Waverly Antique Wax on the bottom part, and then again the sage on the Let It Snow, and then just a little white paint on the snowflake. This ribbon is also from Dollar Tree and it matches perfect. This is a snowflake. Shoot, I don't remember where I found it, but you'll definitely be able to find snowflakes at Dollar Tree. I just felt like there was this like big open negative space there, so I thought if I took that ribbon and just kind of wrapped it around, see how it looks? It just seemed too naked. So I'm just putting this piece of ribbon around there just to, like I said, just give it a little bit more of a visual balance. So I'll go ahead and just take my hot glue and I will glue that down. And now it's just a matter of gluing everything down and then I have a beautiful piece of home decor for winter. Now you are going to see a theme throughout these projects that all have this minty green color. It's sage, I guess is what they're calling it, but I feel like it's a minty winter color. And you'll see what color, what inspired me is the next project. The glass that I found at Dollar Tree is absolutely gorgeous. And then I had scrapbook paper in my stash that was also the same color. Divine, divine, divine. Look, even my glue gun matches. I do use that other glue gun there. I put white hot glue in it, so that way if you see it, it just kind of looks like a snowdrop. I grabbed these wall stickers from Walmart for $2.98. And then I'm going to grab 4 of these signs from Dollar Tree. They always have these long signs. I grabbed these pumpkin ones because I loved the natural wood and I knew it would be super easy to make them over. I wouldn't have to paint them or anything. So, but if you can't find these, you can use any of their long signs and you can just paint it to the color you like. You could use some contact paper. You could, you know, use scrapbook paper, whatever you want. So anyhow, I am just cutting that pumpkin piece off on all 4 of them and giving them a little sand, and then taking some of these, what do you call these? Because I always call them tongue depressors, but I'm sure there's another name for them. Anyhow, I'm going to hot glue these on to get this all secure, and then I add some more tape. I'm just making that nice and sturdy. So once I get my 4 boards together, now it's a matter of putting these stickers down. So I cut them out so I can place them around. In hindsight, I did make my little, like Mary and Joseph a little closer to the left there. And they could have been a little more centered, but I did that because of the wording. But then I kind of like it that way too. So let me know, would you have centered them more, or do you kind of like that they're a little off-centered? So again, super easy DIY because all I'm doing here is putting stickers down. I mean, how easy is that? So these are meant to go on a wall, but they can obviously go on a sign. And so because they are wall stickers, you can peel them off. So if you want to take them off and put them back on the sheet and make the sign something else, I don't know. I don't know how well they'd hold up that way, but I wouldn't do that because I like how this sign turned out. I'm excited. It turned out better than I thought it would. So just putting all the stickers down, easy peasy. But that's not all because that's kind of plain, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab some Excelsior. This is some I got in my Michael's grab bag, but Dollar Tree does have it. So I'm just pulling it out to see how much I have. This little baggie I had was like the perfect amount. Add some hot glue it down, and then this sign is complete. Super easy to make. I definitely think the Excelsior at the bottom, you know, took this up a notch. And if you are not able to find these at Walmart, you could cut them on your Cricut and you could use that brown wood contact paper from Dollar Tree and get the same look. I'm using this reindeer head that I have in my stash. I do believe it comes from Joann's, or you can use this one right here from Dollar Tree. And I went ahead and stained it and I didn't like how it looked. So then I just used some like dark chocolate paint and I like how that looks better. So I went ahead and painted that. This particular deer head is also chalkboard on the other side. And then I'm using this sign from Dollar Tree. Isn't that really cool with the different browns? I really like it. It comes in 3 different sizes, and I think that's going to be a really cool addition to Dollar Tree. Anyhow, I glued that reindeer head down, and then using some of my greenery, I go ahead and get 2 of those swags there and glue those down as well. This is a super simple project, but I love how it turned out, and it's a really great neutral piece. I am doing neutral decor this year, lots of woodsy type look, so that is what I went for. Now this particular greenery set I had these plastic pine cones on it that I didn't like. So I grabbed some from the Dollar Tree that are real looking, and I added those to my sign. Added a little bit of ribbon there in the center, and that's done. Super cute, natural Christmas decor. I like to pick up signs like this at garage sales because it had a nice whitewash behind it, and I'm going to cover it anyway. But again, Dollar Tree has signs like that. Here's a paper pack from close to my heart. I don't know how old it is, but again, it was in my stash and it matched perfect. So I cut out some pieces of that paper. It had these kind of little stickers and little craft colored little cutouts. Remember, if you don't have little cutouts like this, of course you can use your Cricut, or you can just print them out on some cardstock and hand cut them out. But I'm going to go ahead and I kind of play around with some of the elements. I know this is going kind of fast, but you'll see me glue all the elements down here in a minute. But I love pattern paper and mixing them, so I had this piece right here, which was just some pine cones, and using my double stick tape I will tape that down. Now whenever I'm working with paper and paper crafting, I do like to use some of the 3D foam tape from Dollar Tree to pop up some of it, and I think that gives it some nice dimension and makes it look higher end. So then I cut out this blue piece here. It has like the birchwood trees, and this was some twine that came with it. It's white with some gold in it, and I'm just gonna tape it to the back here and wrap it around twice, and this will just give it some more dimension, a little bit more I don't know what I want to say, decoration. And then I will glue this down to the paper as well. I love these double stick tape runners. I've been using them for at least 15 years. So they're just always my number one. It's by Tombow. I will link them down below. I'm going to go ahead, and this was just a little piece. It had like music notes that I thought was really cute too. Okay, so now this was one of the ones that came with the kit. It says Winter Wishes, and I just backed it with another piece of their white pattern paper. But here's where I'm going to use that foam tape. I'm going to pop it up off of the page there. This is going to, like I said, give it a little bit more interest. And it's just a matter of gluing down those other elements using either pop-up tape or, in this case, I used a glue stick because I could not find my precision tip glue. I have since found it, thank goodness. But I recommend the precision tip glue better. But again, all I had was my glue stick. But that is it for this project. It's so beautiful. I love paper. I love working with paper. It's always on sale at Michael's and Joann's. You can just find these paper pads that have all these interesting elements, but then you could also buy it per sheet too. Also, Hobby Lobby carries the sheets as well. I took wood beads from Dollar Tree and I painted some of them red, and then I took some of their white beads, which I'm excited about. They now have white, black, brown, and then of course just the regular wood. So I did a pattern here. I'm going to have a red bead on each end, and then I have two colors, two whites, two reds, two whites, And then I am taking the same gingerbreads that I used in a previous project, and I am going to, again, they're painted with the light mocha from Apple Barrel, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this down in between my two sets of beads, so my two colors. And then I'm going to layer another one on top. So I'm just basically making a sandwich there with the little piece of twine that I have. And that piece of twine just came from my stash. It actually pulled it out of another decor piece and set it aside, and I'm glad I did because I think it looks really cute. And I do know Dollar Tree carries the baker's twine in the red and white, so you can get that as well. And I'm just making a little garland here. This is going to look cute on a tier tray. Or just across maybe a smaller area that you're doing. And this is how it turned out. I picked this kit up at Dollar General. You see $3. Dollar Tree has a tiny version of this that's almost identical, but I thought this was a fantastic deal. I don't feel the need to paint it. This is totally in my decor. I have just regular wood I love. So I put this together and I thought, well, gosh, how can I DIY this? How can I, improve on it? Because I just like it the way it is. So I decided that one of the other things I love about Christmas is that things light up. I go around and light everything up. So I grabbed one of the little light packs from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put that on the back of this here. You'll see I used some hot glue and just hot glued the whole box down. Make sure you have the battery side out in case you have to change them, but also the hot glue will just pop off, so you could literally pop that off. And then just taking some masking tape, I just masked the lights all the way around so you could only see maybe the bulbs but none of the wire. And you turn it on and now you have a beautiful glowing nativity set for $4.25. I have seen these in stores for at least $15 to $20. So easy DIY, right? So I hope you can find one at your Dollar General. Dollar Tree carries this birchwood ribbon as well as these wood cup holders, or not cup holders, pencil holders. And so it's actually a really good size. It almost covers it completely. I'm going to make it cover from the top down because we are going to put something around the bottom. But this is some pretty cool ribbon. I've had it for a while. It's in their everyday ribbon, not like in their seasonal. So you should still be able to find this no problem. And I'm just going to use the double stick tape again. You could use glue, Mod Podge, whatever you want. This is just so easy and non-messy. I love anything that is not messy that I have to clean up. So I just go ahead and I wrap this around the holder. Okay, I'm going to use this ornament here from Dollar Tree. It almost fits perfectly, but since it doesn't, I am going to have to cut it. I'm using my heat tool here. It just releases the glue so I can rip this off gently because I am going to reuse it. So it does, like I said, it doesn't quite fit and it does, break apart, but then we're just going to cover that up back with that element. Now, if you can't find something like this still at Dollar Tree, you can use a scrunchie. You can use one of their fuzzy scrunchies. I'm trying to think if there's any other fuzzy things, but get creative. I find that I use scrunchies quite a bit in decorating, so check out that section. But I'm just going to glue this back down so it sits flat, and that is it. Now I have another candle holder, or you could put other items in this, but I just think it goes really well with the other items that I have made so far. I love these clay ornaments from Dollar Tree. They are really high-end looking. And then I take one of those wooden tags there and I painted it with white chalk paint, and then I headed over to Cricut Design Space. This is the image there, but I want to put the actual gingerbread in the center, and so I took out some of that imagery that I didn't need. And then I went ahead and cut it out on my Cricut, and I'm putting it down in pieces here so that I make sure I have the right amount of room so that my gingerbread ornament can go down into the center of this little tag. And this is a really easy project. Think of all the different cute things that were in Design Space that you can then insert different ornaments to give it that 3D effect. I think this ends up looking like something you would buy at Hobby Lobby. It's probably one of my favorites from this gingerbread DIYs because it's so simple, but I feel like it looks like you bought it right from a store. I grabbed this paper pack that's called Oh Holy Night from Echo Park off Amazon. You can get it from some scrapbook stores as well. It comes with 2 sheets of each print. They're all double-sided. Look at all these fun things. So many options. And you guys know I love paper crafting on my decor. And then these are going to turn into Christmas cards. Whatever I have left, I can make super easy Christmas cards. See, I can just cut those out, put them on top of an envelope, and we're good to go. Okay, so I took this ornament from Dollar Tree. I took everything off of it, and now we're going to decorate. So first, I just traced this out, cut the circle. You can see it's double-sided paper. So I just traced it out, and I'm going to just use my double stick tape. I will also link that below. Dollar Tree does carry it. It just doesn't last as long. So I don't know if it's really the most bang for your buck, but actually might be. Anyhow. So I'm just going to glue that down. Then what I did is obviously I sand around the edges to get it nice and smooth. But here's what I did. I went ahead and I traced it again, but then I hand drew a circle in the middle so that when I put it down, it's smaller than the one I just had. Then with my scissors, I'm just going to distress around the edges there, and I will also glue that down. So just kind of to show you 2 different ways. You can just use a glue stick as well. I don't always want to use a glue stick because it can kind of make your paper wrinkly, but I wanted to show you 2 options. And then I just started going through that paper, and I was like, which one of these jumps out at me the most? I loved the Oh Holy Night. So then I cut a piece of olive paper to back it, and I left a little bit extra room on the bottom so that I could decorate that as well. So I'm distressing a lot on here because I just think it gives it really great texture. So go ahead and now I will adhere this onto the green piece of paper. And then the reason that I'm leaving a little bit more space at the bottom is because I'm going to add this cute little like zigzag ribbon down at the bottom. Again, I just like to add these little elements because I really feel like they give it texture and dimension. Just using some Scotch tape, I will Scotch tape it to around this piece, and then I will add this piece down. Then it's just a matter of adding a couple other little embellishments to make this pop. I just love using scrapbook kits to make decor. And then there's just endless things you can make now to go around this. Little signs and just so many cute things. And I also had a little wood cross in my stash that I went ahead and colored brown. Dollar Tree does have those cute little crosses as well in the sticker section that are like cardboard. And then I'll add that. I'm going to add this little twine here and use the stickers to make kind of like a little banner. Again, I'll just let you watch as I embellish this.
Everything glistens and everything's bright. Everyone's happy, spirits are light. I am sitting here thinking, alone with my drink, as I do this time of the year. Do you remember when love was around? When we were aglow, the talk of the town. When I'm sitting here drinking, I can't help but think about you, about us, as I do this time of the year. Remember me being with you.
For this project, I'm using 3 of these signs from Dollar Tree. I just hit it really hard and it pops off really easily. I'm actually only popping 1 of them off. You could pop 2 off if you wanted. And then, like I said, I had like 3 different ones in my stash. I had a St. Patrick's Day and a Valentine's and a, you saw, fall. I'm going to stack them on top of each other, and this is just going to look like a little crate. So of course you could use a crate as well, a little box. There's all sorts of things you could use instead. Again, I have way too many of these things in my stash, and I've got to start using things up. But anyhow, I'm just using my wood glue here to stack them up, and what we're going to do is make a little winter scene. This was so easy to make, too easy to make, but I think it looks so beautiful, and you know, this would also make a cute Christmas scene next year if you'd like, but there's so many cute snowy elements. So this is a stem from Michael's, $9.99. I'm sure it's at least 50 to 60% off now if you run in there. It was in my Michael's grab bag last year. And so I am just going to cut off this extra stem here, and then I'm just going to kind of bend it around so it fits down into this. You don't need floral foam or anything. This particular one is so thick, it just sits in there no problem. And I kind of, you see there, I've kind of bent up the top portion because I kind of want that to be like my background, like the top of the back part. So I just sit here and I fold in until I get it to look the way I want. And then I'm just going to start filling it with elements from Dollar Tree that I can put down in it and make it look so wintry. At this point, I did want to add little white bottle brush trees. They were not in my craft room. I had to go find them. And so when you see the finished project, you will see that I did add 2 bottle brush trees in there as well. And then, of course, I am just wrapping this around and just giving it a little bow for the front. And then this project's complete. That little lantern does light up, so definitely adds to that warm wintry decor. This ribbon too is also from Michaels. I'm telling you, run in there and get yourself some stuff on clearance. That is always how I get the more expensive craft items, is on clearance. I grabbed this large gingerbread house as well as these small light up ones from Dollar Tree, and I covered them in the light mocha from Apple Barrel. And then using my paint markers, I went ahead and decorated each of them. And then after I get them all colored down like I like, I'm gonna go ahead and use some caulk from Dollar Tree, and that is going to make my snow. Make sure you have a wet wipe on hand because it is messy. I will say I did this without a caulk gun, and the little ones like this were easy because once you push it from the bottom, it just has a nice steady flow. But once you need it to come out a little bit more like fuller, then it gets a little difficult, and having a caulk gun would make this so much easier. But for the little ones, it worked out pretty good here. So it's just like piping a cupcake. As you see here, so then I cut a bigger hole. So for the bigger one here, it could come out a little bit faster. And once that was all on there, I set it aside to dry. It does dry fairly quickly. Okay, and once they're dry, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to glue the big one there onto these little ones here onto the side. And what this is going to do too is going to help it all stand up, so it kind of looks like a little village, or maybe it's just a big house and this is part of it. And then those two little ones light up, and I think this makes the cutest little gingerbread backdrop. I really like how it turned out. Okay, using this arrow sign from Dollar Tree, I am going to turn it around and make a little stable here. And then again, I'm going to use that same paper pack I just traced around, and I will add it to it. I also just picked another image that I liked from that kit. Because this is like a stable, I thought an image of Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus made the most sense. And then again, taking those tongue depressors that I'm blanking, because I feel like there's another name for them that you're going to have to tell me down in the comments, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that was it. And then you saw there I used my stamp pad just to give it, you know, a bordered edge, kind of give it like a dirty look, because, you know, it's a stable. And then I will add these pieces down. But what I was saying is I took two of those tongue depressors and I used some antique wax from Waverly and painted those, and those will go across the top, and I have a cute little stable decor. That sounded funny, like it's unstable, but you know what I meant. Away in the manger. A manger. Wait, the manger's what the baby's in, right? Yeah, all right. And then I add a little string to the back, so you can hang this if you want, or you could just lay it up against something. I think I'm actually going to hang it in my tree. I'm liking really big, bold things in my tree. I think it makes it really fun.
Was that just a dream that never came true? I am sitting here sinking, drink after drink, as I do this time of the year. My stupid
Using this fabric and car sham, I'm going to make a pillow. I use the whole piece of fabric here, and I'm just using my heat press here just to iron it out. So you could just use your iron. You don't need to use this. And then I'm going to kind of draw out, I just hand drew out a tree. If you need to, you can print one off your computer and trace around it. But I went ahead and just cut the sham here and cut around this tree that I drew on. You will have to give it a little haircut here and there to get the long pieces off, but this is how I got my tree shape. And then for the pillow, I folded it long ways. Now this particular fabric has words, so you have to make sure your words are going horizontally. Now I'm going to turn it right sides together, and using my hot glue gun, I am going to glue around the edges. Now, in hindsight, I meant to use my fabric glue and had a brain fart and used my hot glue instead. And the hot glue gun just doesn't stick as well unless you have a fabric glue stick in there. So I highly recommend that you use actual fabric glue, because this did pop open when I was turning it inside out and when I was filling it, and I had to re-hot glue it. So that's my advice for you. Or also maybe put the hot glue a little further in and not so close to the edge. But either way, it did turn out. So now as you can see, I'm pulling it inside out, and I'm going to use some filling that I have in my stash, and I'm going to fill it here, and then I have to close it up here with my hot glue. And all you do is you turn each side, you fold each side down, and it kind of gives you that seam, and then you pinch it. Now it'll be helpful if you kind of pin it together first. I don't know why I was making this so hard, because making pillows is super easy, but I guess my brain was not functioning properly when I was making this. So do as I say and not as I do. So once you get your pillow all put together here, now see, I got smart and got my fabric glue out. So I was like, dang it, why didn't I use that first? And I'm going to glue that down to the front here, and I'm going to make it off to the side there, because now I'm going to use this yarn from Dollar Tree. It's so pretty. It's like chenille. And then using a white pen, I'm going to write out the word joy, and I'm doing it very lightly, so that way when I trace over it, you are not going to see my writing at all. And then using my fabric glue, I will go ahead and trace it again with the glue and put the yarn over the word. And now I have a cute little decorative pillow. Which of today's projects were your favorite? Go ahead and leave me a comment down below, and I would love to hear if you plan on recreating one of these. Okay, I am going to make a big bow here because it is going to go on a swag. So what I do is I decide where I want my pegs on my ribbon maker. So this ribbon here is from Hobby Lobby. It's also that birchwood looking ribbon. You can get this one year round, and I always get my ribbon at least half off. So here I decide, nope, I want it to be a little bigger. So this is the easiest way to make a bow for me, and that is you just wrap it around however many loops you want. So in this case, I want a 3 looper, and then you see there, that is going to be my tails. I wish I had made them a little bit longer, but that's okay. Then I'm going to take a pipe cleaner there, and I'm just going to cinch that middle up and use my pipe cleaner to get it all adhered together. So then once I get that pipe cleaner on, I will go ahead and I will just pull out the loops there and fluff it up, and it's super easy peasy. This bow maker is off Amazon. It's only $10, so it's nice to have in your stash. There's other types of bows you can make. This is just the one I make and find the easiest. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the next section. I move the pegs forward so that way this bow is going to be a little bit smaller. So I'll go ahead and I will wrap this around the same way. So again, there's my tail, and then I'm going to wrap it around so it has 3 loops, and I will repeat the process on all of these bows. They're going to all look the same, but they're going to be big, medium, and small. Once I get them all together, I will take another pipe cleaner and put all the bows together. I'd like to invite you over to Instagram. My name over there is dollar__mom. I share DIYs like this, but I also share tips, other budget-friendly home decor, as well as my personal life. So if you would like to join me over there, I would sure enjoy you. Okay, then I'm going to grab one of these snowflake ornaments from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add it to the center here. It doesn't need to be there, but I ended up really liking it. And then what we're going to do is just add this to 2 stems. Again, I got them from Michael's in my grab bag. I know, aren't these amazing stems that I have gotten from Michael's last year? I gotta tell you a little story here while I figure this out. I just pull the stems, by the way, until I get where it's going to be perfect for that bow. And then I'll use some zip ties to zip tie those together. But anyhow, so I went in first thing, getting my grab bag, and I was looking for the florals. And I was like, because that's what I always want to get. And I look over and the lady is filling the bags for the florals. And I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of went over there and I was like, oh, are these going to be for the grab bags? And she's like, yeah, I'm just now getting to it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to wait for you. And she goes, here. And she just gave me a bag, an empty bag, and said, go ahead, fill it up. So I walked through this section and I filled it up with all the ones I wanted. So I didn't get any duds or anything. And I got hundreds of dollars of stems for $5. Now the grab bags are going up to $10 this year. Big bummer, but still definitely worth it. I wanted to see if I could recreate this watercolor painting I saw on Pinterest. So I drew it out on a piece of watercolor paper and now I'm going to attempt to paint it. This is only my second time watercoloring. I have always wanted to do more of it and I've just never taken the time to do it. But after I did that one pumpkin on one of my Halloween videos, I have, you know, I think that was a Lisa's of YouTube collaboration that I did that on. It was. How funny. So apparently the Lisa's of YouTube videos are the ones where I liked watercolor. I don't know. I sped this up because it took me about 30 minutes to paint this, which I think isn't bad at all. And again, I don't really know what I'm doing. I've seen a little bit of stuff on like TikTok, but I start, as you can see, really light. Although this part that I'm painting first is like kind of white, like their robes are kind of like a whitish ivory color, which is kind of hard to paint with watercolors. But the thing about watercolor is if you're intimidated, you can always start light and then add more and add more until it gets darker. And again, I'm using these paint pens. I got these actually from Shein. Most people know Shein for clothing, which is also, I get clothing from there. But they also have like a ton of other things. And I saw these pens on there. Now the point of these pens actually is you put water in them and then you don't have to constantly dip your pen. But I was scared to do that because I'm so new at watercolors and I was like, I'll probably get too much water on it this way. So next time I will experiment by putting water in there. But again, right now I just really wanted the control because I don't really know what I'm doing. But I got a 6-pack of these off of Shein and they have different tips. Then when I was in Dollar Tree, I saw that they carry these pens too. So I'm calling it a pen. It's really a brush. I don't know why I'm calling it a pen. It's a brush that you can put water in the base part and have water in your brush. Again, I don't know that I'm really giving you a tutorial on this. I'm kind of just letting you watch me paint. So if you don't want to watch me paint for the next 8 minutes, which I do not blame you for, you can just fast forward and see the end product. I'm really proud of it. Like I said, it's my second time watercoloring. Don't be afraid to try something. It's not going to hurt anything. I just bought a pad of watercolor paper and I'm just going for it. I'm going for it. I think it's probably easiest, at least for me, to copy something at first before I go on my own and try to figure out my own colors and how to do it. So copying, I think, is a good way to start. So if you want my sketch, I can give it to you on Instagram if you DM me. I mean, it's not a perfect sketch, but I'm happy to share it with you if you want. Maybe another option too is if you find something you want to do, print it off on your printer, and then use a Sharpie to get it nice and bright, and then trace it. That'll get you started. So again, I'm just going to let you listen to some pretty music and watch me paint. Again, if you don't want to watch the whole process, just fast forward. And this is the last project. So I really hope you enjoyed this nativity themed video.
Feeling alone, kinda misty, waiting now for you to come. It's cold again, but I know we'll be warm, sitting by the fire and dream. Tell me again with a whisper, little things that I wanna hear, and the stars up above are smiling when they see you holding me so near. Christmas on my mind, somewhere from a place up high above. There's a song of love traveling afar, seeking us to warm up every heart, to be our light into the night. Bless us with a moment of serenity. Let it come to bloom, joyful Christmas news. Hope will find its way to you. Peaceful little lights, Christmas on my mind, somewhere from a place up high above. There's a special star shining from afar, seeking us to warm up every heart, to be our light into the night. Bless us with a moment of serenity. Let it come to bloom, joyful Christmas news.
I hope you enjoyed these DIYs. Don't forget to check that playlist down below for the Lisa's of YouTube collaboration. And until next time, happy crafting!